Hi, this next article comes from the November 17th issue of Game Informer magazine. That's if you get the card or whatever you call it at Gamestop, basically you get a magazine subscription. The benefits aren't super unless you go there all the time or this or that. And for a number of years, I hadn't really gone to GameStop, but then I don't know. It's they get a lot of flack. And it's one of those businesses that there's a lot of good stores out there, but unfortunately, um, the bad stores and the people not doing things like they're supposed to. I guess that's what people seem to hear about more often than not. But anyways, and I have the regular card. They just recently came out with some double rewards on top of the rewards. I don't know what the other card is. I just have the regular Power Up Rewards card, regular Pro card, whatever. I was trading in some stuff and this and that, and it was like, yeah, whatever. Get the card, and don't know if I would do that again. When I go to buy games, when I go to buy things, I'm kind of all over the place. I might go to Walmart, I might go to Best Buy, I might, 9 times out of 10, it's either Walmart or Amazon. So it's not any one place I really want to necessarily invest in per se. So, but anyways, this is from the November 17th issue of Game Informer, the GameStop magazine. The article is the Xbox One X Primer. Everything we know about Microsoft's upcoming console. By, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Jeff Marchiafava. Marchiafava. Sorry if I said that wrong, Jeff. Okay. Getting gamers excited for a new console less than 4 years into the current generation of systems is a hard sell. And so far, Microsoft hasn't made the strongest sales pitch for the Xbox One X. As with its predecessor, the Xbox One X reveal was undermined by vagaries and mixed messaging, leading to confusion among consumers. Microsoft has filled in many of the gaps in the ensuing months, but one big question remains: do you really need to upgrade? While we won't be able to judge the merits of the Xbox One X until it's out into the wild, we can provide you with a clear picture of what the system does and doesn't do, so you can begin weighing your options. You can still expect a full hardware review in a future issue, but in the meantime, here's everything we know about the Xbox One X. Microsoft has been Microsoft has been lauding the Xbox One X as the world's most powerful console, and by all accounts, that appears to be true. From CPU and GPU power to RAM memory bandwidth, the Xbox One has a significant advantage on both the stock PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, as well as Microsoft's own Xbox One X. While crunching raw specs practically requires a degree in computer science, one stat that gamers can and should understand is the floating point operations per second, or flops. Simply put, flops is a measurement of computer performance that provides the best general idea of how each system on the market compares. The original Xbox One had a peak performance of 1.31 teraflops, while the Xbox One S redesign edged up to 1.40 teraflops. On the Sony side, the PlayStation 4 rates in at 1.84 teraflops, which still makes it the most powerful base system on the market. The dynamic flips when it comes to the mid-gen consoles, however. The PS4 Pro vastly overshadows its predecessor with a peak performance of 4.2 teraflops, but still pales in comparison to the Xbox One X, which clocks in at a flat 6 teraflops. On paper, that amounts to the Xbox One X being roughly 40% more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro. What will that look like in the real world? There are a few more aspects to consider. The fuss about 4K. Much of the mid-gen refresh sales pitch has centered on 4K, which remains bleeding edge of gaming performance. A 4K display features roughly 4 times the number of pixels of a 1080 display, but there are several ways the developer may choose to present a game at this resolution. As you might guess, these options all comes down anyway, that's what it says, to performance. Upscaling is the most basic process and isn't really considered true 4K. Instead, it takes a lower resolution and blows up the image to fill the additional pixels of a 4K display. Depending on the technique, upscaling to 4K can make a game appear sharper, but it still lacks the detail of other methods. Both the Xbox One S and PlayStation 4 Pro are capable of upscaling games to 4K. Checkerboard rendering is another half step to true 4K rendering, but yet yields more impressive results compared to upscaling. This technique renders half of a 4K image and a checkerboard pattern, then uses a filter to evaporate the missing pixels. The method is generally considered indistinguishable from true 4K by the naked eye. The majority of 4K enabled PS4 Pro games, as well as some Xbox One X games, use checkerboard rendering, though you'd be hard pressed to tell which ones. Native 4K is the genuine article, outputting games at the full 3840 by 2160 pixels. Although Microsoft's upcoming first-party games will run in native 4K, though few third-party developers thus far have claimed that distinction for their 4K-enabled titles, leaving the door open to techniques like checkerboarding. A handful of PlayStation 4 Pro games also support native 4K. 4K games, the following games support 4K on the Xbox One X, whether natively or via upscaling or checkerboard rendering. The list they have here is Ark Survival Evolved, Assassin's Creed Origins, Astroneer, Chess Ultra, Crackdown 3, Dead Rising 4, Dishonored 2, Doom, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim Special Edition, Everspace, Farming Simulator 17, FIFA 18 Standard Edition, Final Fantasy 15, For Honor, Forza Motorsport 7, Standard Edition, Gears of War 4, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Halo Wars 2, Injustice 2, Killer Instinct, Madden NFL 18, Manus Burn Racing, Minecraft, Outlast 2, Paladins, Portal Knights, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, Rime, Rocket League, Titanfall 2, Tom Clancy's Division, We Happy Few. That's the end of that particular list. Oh, there is another list, 4K enhanced games for the Xbox One X. In addition to the list of 4K enabled games on the previous page, the following titles will also offer Xbox One specific enhancements. That list is Conan Exiles, Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Dovetail Games Eurofishing, The Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind, Elite Dangerous, F1 2017, Fable Fortune, Fallout 4, Firewatch, Forza Horizon 3, Gears of War 4, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, Hello Neighbor, Hitman, the complete first season, Homefront, The Revolution, Killing Floor 2, Life is Strange, Before the Storm, The Long Dark, Mafia 3, Middle-earth, Shadow of War, Need for Speed Payback, Path of Exile, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, Project Cars 2, Quantum Break, Real Farm Sim, Recore, Roblox, Sea of Thieves, Slime Rancher, Smite, Sniper Elite 4, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Steep, Superhot, The Surge, Tom Clancy's The Division, Warframe, Warhammer End Times, Vermintide, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, World of Tanks. More than meets the eye, 4K rendering is only one potential benefit of the Xbox One X beefed up hardware. Developers could also use the additional horsepower to provide better frame rates, longer draw distances, shorter load times, or more complex environments. Would be nice, but we'll see. And then it goes on. These improvements will vary on a case-by-case basis and are up to the developer. Titles have been optimized for the Xbox One X in one way or another and will be labeled Xbox One X Enhanced. Microsoft has announced 72 such titles so far, including coming games like Assassin's Creed Origins, Middle-earth, Shadow of War, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Older titles including Ghost Recon Wildlands, Titanfall 2, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim Special Edition will also enjoy retroactive boost. High Dynamic Range, aka HDR, is another recent advancement in digital displays which provides a greater range of colors and images. If your television supports HDR, you have plenty of options aside from the original Xbox One, which Microsoft has discontinued in favor of the Xbox One S. All other system models from Microsoft and Sony now support HDR. Just a quick note on that. There may be some people out there that have already got a 4K TV at the time it came out. It didn't have HDR and a lot of the earlier ones. So this isn't something where you should just throw away your 4K TV you paid a lot of money for just to get HDR, unless you can afford to get another TV, and then it could be your second TV, whatever. But if you're in the market for a new TV, then you want to make sure it has HDR. I would suggest HDR10. That's the type of HDR that's compatible with the Xbox One X. The other type of HDR, which is Dolby Vision, isn't necessarily compatible with everything. It's a little less common than the standard, which is HDR10. So that's also important, HDR, and try to get HDR10, or in a perfect world, if you can get a TV that is compatible with both, hey, then you're good either way, depending on what player, what movies, so on and so forth. But the Xbox One X does HDR10. So anyway. So it goes on. Lights, camera, action. Movies and television have been adopting the 4K format more quickly than the gaming industry, and Xbox One X will capitalize on their strides. Not only can the system stream 4K entertainment through services such as Netflix, it can also play Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray discs. In comparison, the Xbox One S also has streaming and 4K Blu-ray support, while the PlayStation 4 Pro supports streaming, but is not equipped with a 4K Blu-ray player. The original PS4 does not offer any 4K video support. While some games will carry the Xbox One Enhanced label, they aren't limited to the new console. One disc to rule them all. Excuse me. While some games will carry the Xbox One Enhanced label, they aren't limited to the new console. The Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X will all use the exact same discs, so your game will be compatible with whatever system you own. Games will also identify what system they are running on and react accordingly. So if there are additional 4K assets or patches to install, only the Xbox One X will download them. That won't take into account what display you have, however. So if you're playing on a Xbox One X on a 1080p television, you'll still need to make hard drive space for the 4K assets. Speaking of hard drive space, while both Microsoft and Sony opted for 500 gigabyte hard drives in their initial current gen systems, the 1 terabyte drives have since become the standard size for the PS4, now sold in the slim model and most Xbox One S bundles. The Xbox One X also features a 1 terabyte drive, which gives the extra space 4K assets will require. The extra space 4K assets will require, it's likely to fill up fast. However, like previous models, the Xbox One X also supports external hard drives. In fact, Seagate is making an Xbox One branded hard drive that features a whopping 8 terabytes of space. Depending on the pricing of that and its 4K stuff. 4K stuff is definitely going to chew up data space. Alright, then we go on to veering into VR, ? Unlike Sony, Microsoft has been reluctant to embrace VR on consoles, instead focusing its mixed reality initiatives, which include both augmented reality, like the HoloLens, and virtual reality on Windows 10, that apparently won't be changing anytime soon. While Xbox head Phil Spencer told The Verge last year that the Xbox One X was designed so VR will be able to plug it right in and work, the company has not announced any official VR support and omitted any mention of VR during its E3 press conference this year. So while the Xbox One X is capable of running VR games, Microsoft isn't ready to pull the trigger. When asked for a comment, a Microsoft rep told us the company believes right now a Windows PC is the best platform for mixed reality, and they have nothing to share about the mixed reality for console at this time. The price of power. As you might have guessed, the supersized horsepower of the Xbox One X comes with a supersized price tag as well. Microsoft's suggested retail price for the system is $500, which is twice what retailers are currently selling select Xbox One S bundles for. The Xbox One X price compares more favorably to the PlayStation 4 Pro, which currently sells for $400. But either way, if you want the most powerful console on the market, you'll also be paying the most. The original Xbox One also debuted at $500, which certainly didn't help Microsoft's rocky current-gen launch. The virtues of wait and see. Most gamers have a closet that doubles as a graveyard for defunct consoles and peripherals, so you'd be forgiven if you approached the mid-gen refresh with a fair amount of skepticism. The Xbox One X's added horsepower didn't mean anything if developers aren't willing to spend the extra time and effort to use it. And for most studios, the lead development platform is the most popular system, not the most powerful system. Is the Xbox One enhanced, destined to be the next better with Kinect? Probably not. Unlike motion control gimmicks and technologies that disrupt traditional gameplay, we're looking at UVR. 4K is the next logical and inevitable step for the gaming industry. 4K is now the standard bearer for new televisions, and more broadcasting and streaming companies are making the transition as well. 4K gaming isn't a matter of if, but when. Given how rapidly technology advances, however, that when could be a problem for the Xbox One X. Many gamers view the purchase of a pricey new console as an investment. The value of that investment depends on the system's lifespan. While the original PS4 and Xbox One enjoyed healthy adoption rates, those sales were in part driven by last-gen expectations. Gamers may be more hesitant to buy Sony and Microsoft's expensive mid-gen upgrades if they too might be rendered outdated in a few years. If that reluctance slows down adoption rates, the Xbox One X could be facing substantially cheaper and more powerful competition when 4K gaming finally starts to hit its stride. In the meantime, it will be up to Microsoft to prove that now is the time to make the transition. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again soon in another video.